All-Ireland semi-finals. The all-Munster meeting of Cork and Kerry. The throw-in is at 3:30. And of course, before that, we have the All-Ireland minor semi-final. Again, Kerry represented in that, this time against Mayo. And that match is coming up soon, 1:45. Hello and welcome. Well, we've been treated to some really fantastic games here at Croke Park in the past few weeks between the hurling and the football. And today promises more of the same as those oldest of rivals, Cork and Kerry, face up to each other for a place in this year's final. And once again this afternoon, Joe Brolly and Colin O'Rourke are here with me in studio. Their comments in a moment, but first here on the programme, we mark the passing of one of Gaelic football's greatest ever players, Sean. Yeah, not only one of the great sportsmen, but a true gentleman as well was Sean. Joe Brolly, you weren't fortunate enough to meet Sean personally. Colin O'Rourke, you were. And in actual fact, the first game that my father brought me to, the first Gaelic football match, I think it was 1958-59, Tube Stars, to see Sean personally play. But you've met him in a different capacity a number of times.
That's right. Well, you were lucky that you saw him play. I never saw him play, but he was, of course, a great man for the horses and the dogs, and I got to know him very well over the last 10 or 15 years. He loved the bet, he loved the crack involved in horse racing and the dogs. As I said, I never got a chance to see him play, but my father, who was at a lot of Connacht Championship matches and saw most of them, he always said that Sean Purcell was the greatest footballer and the best footballer he ever saw.
And of course the Frankie Stockwell formed that legendary partnership.
Yeah, the terrible twins, but he, you know, he was known as the master by everybody. He was affectionately known by that, and I think that probably summed up him by name and by nature. The master was a very apt name for him.
Well, I'm sure Joe Brolly is watching down at this proceedings today, a big game in Croke Park, Cork and Kerry, and obviously a rematch up again, like from the Munster final, and so much speculation going into this game as to how Cork are they going to respond? Are they going to do it this time?
Yeah, well, they're a bit unlucky to lose Derek Kavanagh, and of all the teams that we've seen this year, and we've seen a lot of teams all around the country, and seen them in the flesh up close. Cork are the team that I've been most impressed with outside the top three. And whereas I don't think there was any real possibility of an upset to date, this I think presents an opportunity like that, because Kerry have been a bit like Kilkenny. They've been cruising through the championship, curiously lacking passion somehow. Now some commentators interpret that as them playing well within themselves. But at the Munster final, you'll recall that without really putting a lot into the game, they managed to come away with the victory. And I thought it was a very tight game that day, and Cork have acquitted themselves well since then. They've got a good structure, they've got a good tactical plan, and their young forwards are playing well. And Kerry obviously have problems up front, so I think that it'll be very interesting to see. Kerry need to step up a gear again.
Yeah.
And it's one that could be very tight.
We're going to have to wait for another little while, Colin, to know officially what the replacement will be for Kavanagh in the middle.
Yeah, well, I suppose he's a significant loss. He mops up a lot of loose ball, whereas Nicholas Murphy is probably better in the air. And the Kerry midfield of William Kirby and Darragh Shea were quite unimpressive, both in the Munster final and against Mayo. I think that Kerry, though, and Cork is a bit similar to yesterday's game insofar as Tyrone had the class, Dublin, flat out effort and, played quite well. Kerry have all the proven performance, they have the class. Cork certainly have displayed a lot of passion, a lot of creativity, and Philip Difford and Brendan Gerard Sullivan, who weren't playing the Munster final, came in against Galway and were probably two of their best players. So Cork have a real chance in this, but again, I think it's horses for courses. Kerry now see, their big day, their day with destiny really at the end of September in beating a Northern team in the All-Ireland final. I think that's what these set of players have on their mind, and I don't think Cork are going to stop them.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you for the moment. Well, it's minor matters.
The 5-point deficit, they responded terrifically well, and they played, I thought, some quite expert forward play. They didn't kick stupid shots, they looked for the man.
Cork over the last couple of years had lain down in the big games, and that's gone. They're playing with fire, they're playing with passion. They still rely on Canty and Anthony Lynch. They've put in Declan O'Sullivan full forward, who obviously will get the ball and run at Canty.
And as we can see, gentlemen, Derek Kavanagh is joining his teammates, the team photograph at least anyway.
They're very fit, they're very, very well motivated. They play acute, and they've got a very good half-back line. Lynch is a terrific leader, and his two young halves are great attackers, and that's very necessary against a team like Kerry, because Kerry's half-back line is so good that it's very difficult for the other half-forward line to make any impact. So you need an attacking half-back line that's prepared to be the springboard. And you saw how against Galway, Anthony Lynch and the two lads, his two colleagues, devastated Galway, and they just kept driving through, creating chances,
And they kept
creating
going,
overlaps.
like they kept going.
That's why Brosnan in centre forward for Kerry.
Yes.
He will stop or attempt to stop Lynch coming.
But Lynch is a better man than Brosnan. He has more stuff in him, if you know what I mean.
Brosnan
Brosnan
has a lot of pace, but you know, in the quarter-final, Galway allowed Lynch to attack all the time. I'm sure Kerry aren't going to be as accommodating today. The other thing about Kerry is, you know, there's a terrible ruthless streak about them for the last couple of years. Like Jack O'Connor just leaves off, fellas. Doesn't matter who the hell you are. If you're not up to it, if you're not going well in training, you're off. Darrow Kinneda's left off. Mike Frank Russell is. Like Kerry have better subs than most county teams have starting. And I think that's a great thing. They ever introduce men who are straining at the leash to get on. They'll be looking and thinking that if they don't do anything stupid, they're going to win this match, and you're playing for your place against Tyrone and Armagh in a month's time.
Yeah. Coming back again just to the Cork team, since they're out of the field first. I mean, Brendan Gerald Sullivan has been playing very well, and he's been playing above himself all this summer.
Yeah, and
he keeps that going, obviously. That's...
Yeah, and he's cut out a lot of the stupid stuff. I mean, on the evidence of the Galway game, you know, there's slim enough evidence, like, but on the evidence of that, he has stopped this stupid wild kicking from the corner flag, you know, over his shoulder and ignoring players in better places. And, you know, he played a very good game that day. He scored well. He's a terrific athlete. He's very, very strong.
Yes.
And, oh God, he hasn't dyed his hair, has he? I take all that back, what I've just said.
Well, he's a big, strong, fast, mobile fella who is a very good player and is capable of kicking points, but he can't be trying to kick them from the corner flag and the sideline. And Philip Clifford is enjoying a new lease of life there at right corner flag. I mean, he was very good against Galway as well. And they were two fellas who seemed as if they had run their course as it was.
Well, I suppose this is what Billy does. Like he's getting...
He does, and the one element that was missing in the Munster final was that the forwards didn't rise to the occasion, and they didn't take advantage of a lot of the opportunities that were being created by the midfield and their half-back line. You know, and hopefully their confidence has come on with the two good victories since then. And you know, if that's the case, it could be a very tight match, because I still feel that Kerry haven't really proven themselves. Last year they had an easy enough run into winning All Ireland, avoided all the big teams. So there are question marks about it.
Yeah, but there's only one way of answering the question, I suppose. That's go and beat Cork here in Croke Park today in this All-Ireland semi-final. Kerry, of course, the All-Ireland champions. Jack O'Connor is the man who guided them to their title 12 months ago. He's been talking to Marty Morris.
Well, it's a repeat of the All-Ireland football semi-final of 2002, and as you can imagine outside Croke Park, there's a great banter, great excitement. And joining me now are some of the experts in Gaelic football, Cork and Kerry supporters. Let's go to Kerry first. Stephen, what do you think of this Kerry team?
I think this Kerry team have the potential to pull it off today. You know what I mean? I mean, we're going for two in a row. If we can get it, it'll go down in history, because it hasn't been done since Cork done it. You know, and we'll have that over them then, that we can match them and say that we equal them when they did it two in a row. So hopefully we'll do it.
Okay, well, moving on to Tommy, because you're from where in Kerry?
Killoughlin. Come on.
So tell me, what do you think of this Kerry side? Do you think you're going to win today?
The Kerry side are good today, you know. It was a warm day, like, you know, down in Porky Field last day for us, like, you know. Since the half-hour line wasn't there, I think today that they'll come good today. Paul Gallen is back on, and hopefully we'll see Mike Frank back on there again, and we'll get the result we need.
That's the Killarkin lads sticking together. I know. Let's go across the border over here to Kerry. What do you think? Do you think you're going to do the double? Never mind win this match.
We're not going for the double, we're going for the treble. We're going for the hurling, the football, and Cork City going to win the Aircom League as well. We don't do doubles in Cork, we do trebles.
All right, okay, this is a new philosophy.
Yeah.
Are you going to beat Kerry today, though?
I'm quite confident. We're an improving team, we're young, we're a coming team, and we're hungry today, so hopefully that will come true. In the last 20 minutes, hopefully the team that wants it more will win, and that should be Cork, hopefully.
Well, let's stay with a colleague of yours, Alan. Where are you from, and how do you think this game is going to go?
I think we'll win it handy. We learned a lot of lessons during the season now, and I think we're going to be sharp enough today. We learned from the last game, and I think we're solid at the back now. Brendan Gerald will do the business up front again.
Well, we look forward to this All-Ireland football semi-final, a repeat of the 2002 semi-final. Stay with us. Throw-in is at 3:30. We'll be back after the break.
The pale moon was rising.
The Bank of Ireland Football Championship.
Sunday we have the second of the All-Ireland football semi-finals, of course, and you can be here at Croke Park for that. Compliments of RTE and the Bank of Ireland. We're giving you the chance to win 2 match tickets, overnight accommodation and entry into a draw for tickets to the All-Ireland final itself. To enter, select your man of the match from today's game and phone 1515 717183. You can also text your choice to match at 57111. The number to ring from Northern Ireland is also there, and that's 0901 0630 114. And all of those details are on Airtel page 193. The lines are open until 6 this evening, and the winner will be named on tonight's Sunday game programme. Well, obviously, we're looking forward to this big clash of Cork and Kerry, and here's a man that I'm sure is looking forward to. The man on the left there is Arthur O'Keefe. He's 90 today. He's from Mallow in County Cork. He has actually been a patron of the Mallow GA Club for the last 50 years, and sitting beside him there is his young son, Pat, a mere 63, and I'm sure, as I said, they're going to enjoy this match. Final thoughts then from Colm O'Rourke and Joe Brolly. Who's it going to be for you?
I hope I'm looking as well at 50, never mind 90. But
Brolly isn't even looking that well at 34 today.
That's self-inflicted. But it's only when you listen to Anthony Lynch, you see what a fine fellow he is. And Graham Cantley is a great leader. But, always at these matches, I go for the proven performance. If I was with the 12 Apostles, I'd have been the fella saying to Thomas, you're absolutely right, don't believe the rest of them. I go for the proven performance always. Kerry have done it. I can't see Kerry being beaten. Joe?
No, it's difficult to see Kerry being beaten, but if there is going to be an upset, this will be it. Cork are very well organised, they're very well conditioned, and as long as they can retain their discipline and their composure, they've got a chance today.
Thank you, gentlemen. Here are our commentators for the big match, and they are Martin Carney and Ger Canning.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Well, the story of Cork and Kerry is a story that's just about as long as the history of the GAA itself, because this is the 86th championship meeting in 116 years. And there is David Moran from Swinford, who is just 7 years of age, and he is an honorary Garda and leading the Garda band as they lead the teams here for the first of the Bank of Ireland semi-finals. Right, let's take a check on the team news then. Cork's major headache this week was the ankle ligament injury sustained by Derek Kavanagh. He was given a test this morning, and Cork are prepared, it seems, to take a risk on the big midfielder. Of course, the real strength of the team this year has been in the half-back line, where Owen Sexton, Anthony Lynch and Noel O'Leary have presented a formidable barrier for all opponents. While up front, young players like Kevin McMahon and John Hayes have turned in eye-catching performances, helped in no small way by the return to action of Brendan Ger O'Sullivan, whose goal against Galway, well, it was a real 1 in a million. The champions of 2004 feel the need to reshape their forces, and so there are 2 changes from the team that started against Mayo. Dara O'Kineda and Mike Frank Russell are relegated to the edges this time, while Paul Galvin and Brian Sheehan are in from the outset. Indeed, this is Sheehan's very first start for Kerry. It means that Declan O'Sullivan gets a different role and starts the match on the fringe of the square. And there's a change also for Owen Brosnan. He's on the 40 today as the Kingdom look for a big performance from the Dr. Croke's man from Killarney. So there you are. The setting is superb. The ingredients are good. All we need is the action. We'll be back shortly. It's the late Sean Purcell. He is a huge loss. Sung magnificently by Brendan McCarthy of the Garda Síochána. Cork, who won the toss, will play from right to left in the first half. Martin Carney's alongside me. Final thoughts before the throw-in, Martin?
Well, a game I'm really looking forward to, Jar. Again, you know, repeated the Munster final in which Kerry won by 3 points. As far as I can see, okay, Kerry are the more experienced team, but all year I've been looking at this Cork team and really sweetened them. And I feel myself in Kavanagh playing today, and hopefully he's fit. I think they're in with a great chance, actually, of causing a surprise.
It'll be interesting just to see how it pans out, because I suppose there's been a feeling that Cork had been gaining on Kerry, but maybe they were going to do it incrementally, and the Munster final was one part of that step, and there are some other steps. Maybe this might be the final one, you never know.
Well, a number of players actually played particularly well the last end, but I think since the Munster finals, Philip Clifford and Brendan Sullivan have come back to form, played very well in the semi-final, or the quarter-final rather, against Galway, and if they can up their performance another little bit today, I think they'll really put it up to Kerry.
Joe McQuillan from Cavan is in charge, a young up-and-coming referee who has earned a lot of plaudits this season. Some switches and changes, I noticed. Hassett and Galvin switching wings, and O'Shea and O'Mahony as well, with Moynihan involved in a change. We'll bring you the details. So this first semi-final for 2005 gets underway in a welter of excitement and anticipation. And straight away it is Kevin McMahon trying to make some headway. UCT student, plays for the Carbery Rangers club in West Cork. Here's Tomás O'Shea looking for Gooch. The man marked in there by Niall Geary. Geary, you may remember, did a good job on him in the first half of the Munster final. Then he suffered from double vision and had to be replaced at half-time. Owen Sexton, Cork's captain, building in the company of Conor McCarthy. This is Derek Kavanagh testing that ankle, and that's where Seamus Moynihan's gone in there to pick up Brendan Ger O'Sullivan. Darragh O'Shea back to help out. Again, it's his brother, Tomás O'Shea. Loose ball, however, picked up by Cork again. Noel O'Leary driving it way back down, promisingly inside there towards Clifford, and that's just outside the large rectangle, but it means problems for Kerry. First high ball that landed on top of the Kerry defence, and straight away they were causing problems. And there's a kicking for Aidan O'Mahony.
Yeah, great ball in that time, Ger. Philip Clifford was in behind the defence, and Aidan O'Mahony panicked a little bit and took him down. But again, great movement by Clifford to get himself into that position.
David Murphy from Undangan organising his defence. Coming up to take it here is James Masters. Chance to tap it over the bar. Under 2 minutes gone, and a chance for Cork to go in front, which they do. First of the day for Masters. 22-year-old wing forward. This is the foul again here. It was a fantastic ball inside there towards Philip Clifford. It looks like he could cause problems given decent ball inside there, directly into the inside forward line. Dermot Murphy. Kerry trying to win their own kick out. They succeed there with Mark O'Shea in an advanced position. Moynihan belting it away inside there. Options available. That's a great catch by Graham County. They chase after him, in particular Brian Sheehan, the newcomers after him. It's out as far as Noel O'Leary again, the wing back into space. Cork leaving gaps. The jump judged really well this time. John Hayes trying to turn his man, who is Tom O'Sullivan, looking for assistance now, and that ball was handled with difficulty, and it's a free in to Cork. Tom O'Sullivan getting into problem areas there.
Yeah, Cork will be very encouraged by the movement up front at the moment. The 3 full forwards again, Clifford, O'Sullivan and Hazer going laterally, showing well for the ball, causing a bit of trouble, even those early stages for the Kerry full back line.
Interesting half-back line that Kerry are putting up this afternoon. Jack O'Connor has started. Tomás O'Shea on the right, Mark in the centre, his brother, and Seamus Moynihan is left half-back. Second scoring opportunity then coming Cork's way. That ball is wide. So 1 out of 2. James Masters from Nemo Rangers. Cork have an injured player, that's Noel O'Leary, playing today in his 7th championship match. Recognised as one of Cork's big successes this year. Being attended to by the physio, who is Colin Lane. Another one of the backroom team who is missing the game today is Lisa Regan. She's watching it in Ottawa. She's been looking after Cork's conditioning, watching it from afar. That's broken down in the centre by Brosnan. Breaks kindly for William Kirby. Now Seamus Moynihan. Left half back, remember his position in this team. Here comes Kirby. An enterprising ball, but a bit of a hit and hope one at the end of all of that. Didn't quite work out. Better start has been made by Cork.
Very much so, Jordan. That ball by Kirby again was notable by the fact that he was hitting it in high. That's two balls that have gone in high into the Cork full back line. So maybe it's an area that Jack Connor is trying to kind of maybe concentrate on for the moment.
In terms of the breeze, you'll gather by the sideline flags there, there's very little breeze to influence the game unduly this afternoon. James Masters kicks it beautifully. This is Conor McCarthy chasing after him as Mark O'Shea, his marker. You may remember Aidan O'Mahony had that job in the Munster final. This is in for Clifford again, on his left boot, slightly off balance, good accuracy, and it's over the bar. Cork lead by 2 points to no score. The fans are happy.
Yeah,
well, he's prepared to come and make himself available.
Yeah, and his body strength that time gets him by Aidan O'Mahony, who quite clearly has been assigned to look after Clifford for the day, but that's the second time that he has caused O'Mahony trouble, and a good score for Cork.
So a variation on the kick-out this time, not going to the flanks, and that is Owen Brosnan, the 25-year-old. Into space quickly, and Cork have read the signals. That's easily taken away here, Noel O'Leary. Mike McCarthy. Kerry just wanted to find their feet in this match. You may remember 9 weeks ago when they last met, Cork hit them hard, hit them early in the blazing, searing heat of Páirc Uí Chaoimh on that occasion. Gooch here, got a point in the first half that day, and he's got another one here. First shot. The genius himself at number 13, Colin, better known as the Gooch. Cooper making it 2 points to 1.
That's a wonderful pass altogether, and again Gooch giving Nigeri a torrid time that time, turns on to his left foot and over the bar, but the quality of the pass into space, and again the control under a lot of pressure was really worthwhile watching.
Kevin O'Dwyer. A couple of Kerry players were anticipating, and it's Tomas O'Shea who has it, setting up William Kirby, angling it across towards Gooch again. Cork may feel that anybody trying to mark him is bound to be vulnerable to the excellence of this man's skill. It's Geary who has the task. Declan O'Sullivan now, the team captain, little chip across to space to William Kirby, confronted by two Cork players, put under a lot of pressure, and he's put the ball wide. Owen Sexton, the one who takes a lot of the credit for that. Good challenging that time on William Kirby. Continuing his partnership with Dara O'Shea that stretches back a long, long number of years now. The best part of 8 years.
Just noticing Billy down there at the moment. He's trying to get his half-forward line to move back a little bit, like Tomas O'Shea on a couple of occasions has managed to get up and influence the game.
This time it's Nicholas Murphy. Kevin McMahon now to space. Again it's to Clifford, who has the beating of O'Mahony. Brendan Cher's kick is blocked down that time by Seamus Moynihan and comes back out towards the Glenflesk player once again. Released away out here to Aidan O'Mahony. William Kirby waiting for support. It comes in the figure of Seamus Moynihan. Gathered in there well. Geary out as far as Anthony Lynch. Superb against Galway in the quarter-final. This is Mark O'Shea playing at centre half back, wearing number 2. Owen Brosnan challenged there by John Hayes. Declan O'Sullivan, first touch wasn't great. Handling wasn't of the highest order. Ball handled the ground in any case. Free out to Cork. Ball game being played at a terrific pace. Derek Kavanagh. Beautifully down towards Brendan Cher O'Sullivan, taking on Mike McCarthy. Forced out wide. Now looking for his options. Kerry happy just to close the game down a little bit there as O'Leary plays that ball in, but a real hit and hope one. Not very much that John Hayes could do at the end of it all. So Kerry build with Dara O'Shea. Here's Liam Hassett. Every pass is careful, it's measured. They try to ensure that it retains possession if at all possible. That's a great ball from Tomas O'Shea, and it bounces all the way over. Gooch is happy to see it over, but I think he'll acknowledge that Tomas O'Shea got maximum contact on that and knocked it over for his first point of the match. He ties it up at 2 points apiece. Let's watch again.
Yeah, it was a really scary ball actually that time from the Boss O'Shea. Again, Gooch got in behind Niall Geary. Had he got his hand to the ball actually or controlled it, it could have been a goal.
I think that one is credited to Tomas, man of the match in the Munster final. William Kirby fisting it down towards Dara O'Shea. Nicholas Murphy going over to confront him. Dara, quick look around. Again, Kerry want to keep possession, but they're also prepared to play it long and open up gaps. Good enterprising, penetrating moves. This is beautiful football from Gooch into Brosnan, and he handled it on the ground. It's a move that just broke down but carried so much promise for the Kingdom. This is it again here.
Yeah, he's coming through that time and again. In this situation here, definitely picks it up off the ground. Anthony Lynch did a great collision with him, blocked him fairly. But again, the movement of the Kerry line in contrast to the movement of the Cork line is much, much better.
Oh, that's a bad free kick. Noel O'Leary ballooning it out over the sideline and gives possession back with Kerry.
Yeah, Kerry's control of whatever possession they get here at the moment is that little bit better than what Cork's is.
Well, they have the maturity of being All-Ireland champions. They have a well-established team. Cork are seen by many people as a team still in the embryonic stage, emerging. And when you think at the beginning of this championship, the three teams that everybody talked about as favourites, Kerry, Armagh, Tyrone, they're all still there. The one to join them is Cork. As Liam Hassett kicks it, huge distance out, great point. Wonderful kick. And Kerry go in front for the first time. Well, you just can't legislate for this kind of terrific control, terrific ability. Impossible to stop.
Yeah, but what the Cork team can legislate for is actually getting that little bit tighter. Their backs here at the moment are very, very loose. Too much room that time given to Liam Hassett in striking that point over the bar.
Nicholas Murphy trying to win the duels in midfield. He and Kavanagh have established a very good partnership. This is Noel O'Leary, who's been good when he approaches positions like that up to now. This one isn't such a bright kick, however. That's two wides now for Cork. I remember a brilliant point that he got in the Munster final. Billy Morgan on the edge of the field here with lots of encouragement for his charges. McMahon can't control it. Good take by Seamus Moynihan. The opportunities converted so far. Kerry coming forward once again here. That's Tom O'Sullivan letting it fly. And it's taken down well here by Graham Canty, who's standing up manfully to everything that Kerry can throw at him. Kavanagh down beyond McCarthy. He was pushed. Plea there by Mark O'Shea that he was an innocent victim in all of that. The referee didn't quite see eye to eye with the man from the Gaeltacht, from Ventry.
Yeah, just over the last couple of minutes, I think it's fair to say, Jared, that the Kerry backs are starting to get the measure of their Cork of the Cork forward line at the moment, and just the runs aren't as positive from the Cork forwards as they are coming from the Kerry lads.
James Masters is the one entrusted with the kick. Now is he going to go for it from here or try to pick out a colleague? Waiting for some runs to be made. Letting it fly in there. Everybody in after it. But it's Kerry who stepped out over the end line there. It was Tom O'Sullivan who stepped out over the line. And it's a 45. Kerry still leading by 3 points to 2. This is it again here. And the Kerry cornerback clearly out over the sideline. Under a fair bit of pressure, it must be said, from John Hayes. This 45 to be taken by Brendan Ger O'Sullivan from Adragole. Didn't quite make contact with it as he had hoped. And once again it is Seamus Moynihan carrying it forward. Hassett, score of that great point a little while ago. Declan O'Sullivan has done a wondering job, taking Gary Murphy out with him. That's a good ball. Good diagonal play by Kerry, and it's Colm Cooper checking onto his left boot. Suits him beautifully, and that's a marvellous score. Textbook football by Kerry, appreciating the strength of their players in the inside forward line, giving Gooch the right kind of ball, and then as Geary went out to him, he was able to check back on his strongest foot and put it right between the posts. There are two between the teams.
Yeah, and they're so much more purposeful now when they're getting in front, when they're getting into the attack. The quality of the ball that time from Declan O'Sullivan to Colm Cooper was top class. And again, Cooper just drifted off behind his marker, controlled the ball with his first touch, and a super score off his left foot.
That's 2 from 2 now for Colm Cooper. And once again, Darragh O'Shea tries to build a platform, aided by his brother Tomas. Again, direct football all the way down towards Cooper. Again, Geary in some difficulty, and there was some restraining in there. It anyway ends up out over the end line. Well, I thought there was a bit of restraining just before the ball went wide.
Well, a little bit of haltering going on there, certainly, Ger, but it must be said that Niall Geary is struggling at the moment with the Gooch. But the quality of the ball that's coming into the Gooch is again, as we've said, top class. And there's very little a defender can get. You know, the pressure must come on further out the field to prevent that happening.
Good take this time by Kevin McMahon. Caught it really well. Then he was fouled. Guilty party is Paul Galvin. Short to Kavanagh. Not come good yet. Here's McMahon. Cork playing the ball around, trying to hold possession. In contrast to Kerry, who go long with quite a considerable amount of success. That's Owen Sexton. Brendan Ger O'Sullivan. Let's see how they can make headway here, what they'll do with it. That's as far as McMahon is again. Are there gaps? He's looking for one. Can't find any. Too many steps.
That's terrible
difference between the teams.
Very much so. That's terrible football altogether. Going around in circles, going nowhere at the same time. Just no thrust whatsoever. No incisiveness at all in their attacks.
William Kirby, quick look up, waiting for support. When they're in their best form, you often feel that Kerry teams down the years, they are the Brazil of Gaelic football. This is into Cooper. That's a nice turn. Right and left. He's unstoppable. That's 3 from Colm Cooper. And Cork have problems. They got the first 2 points. Since then, it's been all Kerry.
Oh yeah, that's a super score again. But Niall Geary is about 5 yards off him. He's not attacking the ball or getting out in front of his man. But, you know, I think we should say it's further back the field that the problem is coming. Just watch Gooch kicking that again. As I said, you know, the lack of purpose in their forwards, with their last attack, is indicative of that hesitancy in the team at the moment.
And Cork have now gone 12 minutes without a score. There's O'Leary, forced into difficulty by the persistence of Hassett, who's a terrific wing forward. Very often plays as a defensive wing forward, putting the opposing half back under considerable strain. William Kirby just lets fly with great accuracy into Gooch Cooper on the left this time. Left, right, what a display by the Gooch. Mark it down as 10 marvellous minutes from Colm Cooper, the youngster from Dr. Croke's in Killarney. 4 shots at the target, 4 points. They just let it fly into him. Nobody able to contain him. That's magnificent football.
Well, that's an exhibition of point scoring in the first 70 minutes or so. Again, Cork have to make a change immediately. And again, throughout the field, they've got to start applying themselves much better. They're far too loose in their defence. They're lacking purpose in their forward line, and they're not getting the ball around the middle of the park.
Owen Sexton, the team captain, is the one who needs the treatment right now. Plays for a junior club in Kilbrittain. Billy Morgan and the county secretary Frank Murphy. Not sure whether or not there is a requirement to make a substitute, and whether that's why Frank was called into action there, just to sign up the papers. Meanwhile, Jack O'Connor must be very, very pleased. Johnny Cullity and Ger O'Keefe there. What a brains trust to have behind you. Great legendary footballers, those two men, as selectors for Jack O'Connor. Kieran O'Connor is coming on to the Cork team, and he's coming on as a replacement for Niall Geary. Well, he replaced Geary because of necessity in the Munster final, also came on for Geary in the game against Galway when Geary was on a yellow card and experiencing problems. Well, there are problems to be solved right now, but there's a lot of time. First quarter of the match is just gone.
Yeah, that's no surprise. To be fair to Niall Geary, he was exposed with the quality of the ball coming into him as much as anything else. And Gooch's accuracy just is so impressive to look at. Right foot, left foot, it doesn't make any difference. No fuss, absolute efficiency when he gets the ball and great scores.
Still a long way to go. Tomas O'Shea grabs it once again. Releases Paul Galvin. Man who came on as a sub against Mayo, scored 3 points that day. Oh, there's nobody capable of stopping him. That's brilliant. Well, he was never renowned as a scorer, but that's not half bad. That's his 8th point in championship football, and this is 13th appearance in the colours of the kingdom. But Cork need to get tighter.
And I think he'd concur with what you said, Ger. I think he was trying to put the ball high over to Gooch that time. It just struck the ball a little bit better than he had imagined, and again a fine score.
Well, Kerry have now created 8 scoring chances, and they have scored from 7 of them. 7-2 the score. Kerry leading. Kerry dominating. Hassett, quick look around, then again he goes long. The variation in their play, misjudged that time by Canty, runs on to Gooch again. His new marker is Kieran O'Connor, and Kieran O'Connor forced into conceding a free kick. First concession by the Ahada man from East Cork, and he gets a ticking for his troubles for this, dragging back the jersey of Kerry's number 13.
Well, he's really spooky, is the Gooch, like when he's in this kind of form. He taunt and torment any cornerback in the country.
This is Brian Sheehan, Martin, stepping up to take his first free kick. He does really well. 3 years ago when Cork and Kerry were here in the last All-Ireland semi-final that they contested together, this man was playing in the minors that day against Meath, and he was playing in goal. He had 3 years playing minor. He's a student at Cork IT.
Yeah, that'll give him a lot of confidence. Nice strike off the ground, and again, they're beginning to stretch away, and unless Cork had a score very, very quickly, I think the game could be over by half-time.
Dear oh dear. Well, Cork have got a free kick. Right now they'll take just about anything. Here's Noel O'Leary. 6 points between the teams. Something similar happened against Galway, but this is against the champions. Murphy playing it into space. Cork's John Hayes went down, but in fairness to him, he wasn't appealing for anything. It was just a little tangle. And Billy Morgan having problems to do now to get this side really believing in themselves, that they can carry the match to Kerry, and that they can get back into it. They've already used one of their possible 5 subs. Tell you what, there are a couple of people over in Dunmore, County Galway, Sarah, Kate and Anne O'Leary, who are Kerry fans and enjoying it. Kerry Kavanagh, great block down, and that is going to be a free in. The referee has decided. The man coming in to challenge that time was Tom O'Sullivan.
Yeah, he just came across him there, as we can see here. Good ball, great support from Derek Kavanagh. And again, I think definitely a foot block. I think it was just on the edge of the large rectangle.
Had it been inside, it would have been a penalty.
Yeah, we saw one similar in the minor match, actually, for a foot block, and exactly the same place, but slightly further in, Ger.
Well, the referee's going across here to have a word with one of the Cork players. It's with Noel O'Leary from Kilnamortra. Now, what did the referee see, and what did Noel do that results in this little lecture and the game's first yellow card? Well, he seems puzzled. Referee had no doubt. Cork have a free kick, and they have to remain focused. That word that is overused, I know, but they have got to concentrate fully and completely and believe it's still possible. Kicked over the bar by John Hayes. Cork's 3rd point. 2 of their points coming from frees from Masters and from Hayes. and Philip Clifford getting the other one. Cork fans looking a bit dispirited.
Yes, the Kerry fans will be very pleased, Jared, because the Kerry team are much more dynamic than we've seen them all summer. And again, Cork, you know, in contrast, are so listless on the day.
Started brightly, but they started brightly in Killarney last year as well, and then Kerry took full and complete control that afternoon. Galvin. Here comes Tomás O'Shea. Again, Kerry raid dangerously with a diagonal ball in for the Gooch. He's always showing. Brosnan's available, and it's really brilliant to watch. Owen Brosnan. I think if you love Gaelic football, you will love this exhibition. It's pure football, and now this is pure madness. I know it's frustrating and all that, but there is no case for it. Bit of needle involving a couple of players from the outset. Great rivalry between Cork and Kerry, as you're all well aware. The last team that Kerry would want to lose their All-Ireland title to is Cork. And the last team Cork wants to get beaten by second time this year is Kerry.
Well, I think the referee will be coming in maybe to speak to Declan O'Sullivan and to Graham Canty. Canty came in very late into that, actually, to drag O'Sullivan or to say something to O'Sullivan, but it's quite unseemly. And
well, the referee has been using his mic, linking up with the fourth official and the two linesmen as well. He's been chatting with the man on the far side. Two linesmen today are David Coldrick from Meath and Tomás Quigley from Wexford. And the man on the far side is talking to him is David Coldrick, who actually handled the Munster final between Cork and Kerry. And right now the referee is having a word with Gooch.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened there now. I can't see why he's moving the Gooch. Maybe there was some little altercation with Kieran O'Connor after he set up the point for Owen.
He's got a yellow card, and I think the case is being made that he started that little fracas. Others got involved afterwards.
But again, just going back to the support play and the interplay between Brosnan and Gooch in the last score, it was just top class.
Kirby reaches up for it. Cork try to win it back, try to scramble possession with Anthony Lynch, their real leader on the half-back line. Kevin McMahon down towards Brendan Gerald Sullivan. McMahon comes again. Strongly built player. Well, Nicholas Murphy had taken up a good position on the edge of the small rectangle, made a very good run out of midfield. Still 6 points between them. 9 minutes to go to half-time. Mark O'Shea cutting inside this time. The challenge from John Hayes, little ineffective. Ineffective also from Brendan Gerald Sullivan. Kerry men there queuing up to take it from one another. In the end, it is Liam Hassett. Huge ball down, 2 against 3. Kerry having one fewer in that particular confrontation, and Cork win it back. Chance just to find their feet now with Owen Sexton recovered from injury. Looping it outside here. Once again, Brendan Gerald Sullivan. There's a gap because his man, Mike McCarthy, hasn't followed him out. This time it's played into space. A good run here by Philip Clifford, and by John Hayes rather. And John Hayes couldn't quite hold on to it.
Yeah, very disappointing from a Cork point of view, because at the moment they're leaderless, the really big players aren't playing well, and they're shapeless, Gerard. Their full forward line is non-existent. Too many of the players are coming out the field, and in a case like that, there's nobody to put the ball through to.
And Kerry win this kick out rather easily, because Cork were just retreating, not man marking as tightly as they might. That's Dara O'Shea. Brian Sheehan stepped out over the sideline, helped out there by Graham Canty. Cork have a line ball. That's Derek Kavanagh. Fisted down this time by Aidan O'Mahony towards Liam Hassett. Challenged by Noel O'Leary, who has to be careful, he's on a yellow card. And again the marking shocking. And here comes William Kirby, and Cork are being sliced alive. That's William Kirby over the bar. Kerry just carve this Cork defence open very easily because the marking is so slack. They're standing back off their men, and Liam Kirby has kicked this latest point. It's 10-3.
Yeah, there's wonderful verve to their play today. They're moving all over the place. Cork seem to be just caught in their slipstream, don't seem to be able to get to the pace of the game at all, and it's most disappointing from a neutral's point of view and from a Cork point of view.
Hassett, Kerry mean business. They're not going to surrender their title easily. Mark O'Shea. Quick look up. Will he fancy his chances? Well, he had other options. Stays in play. Gooch is after it. Taken down by Graham Canty. Released to Owen Sexton. Steps away from Brian Sheehan. Out as far as McMahon, who is shouldered hard. Away from Conor McCarthy. Out as far as the raiding Gary Murphy. Murphy looking for support. Brendan Gerald Sullivan. Only one man to aim at down there. That was John Hayes. Nobody able to combine as well as they might up front for Cork. Seamus Moynihan shaping up to Brendan Gerald Sullivan. And again it gets highly confrontational and unnecessary.
That's absolutely madness. Like, I mean, Seamus Moynihan is not an aggressive player. Brendan Gerald got involved that time after the free was given. No need for it whatsoever, but it's a symbol and it's symptomatic of the frustration that is in the Cork team at the moment.
Well, there's another way surely of handling the frustration, which is to try and turn possession coming out of defence into useful opportunities up front, and that's simply not happening. 10-3 the position, as Joe McQuillan writes in his notebook, calls back Cork's number 14, Brendan Gerald Sullivan, and issues a yellow card.
Don't have any complaints about that.
Aidan O'Mahony having a quick look up just to see what's on. There was a terrible ball by O'Mahony, straight to Kevin McMahon. Now, is there movement ahead of him to make the pass easy? If he gives it, Brendan Gerald Sullivan's available. He is. Cuts back onto his right. Great block down. That's brilliant defensive work. Superbly done by Paul Galvin. Dara O'Shea gets it away. Out as far as Liam Hassett. The champions turn on the style in defence, where it's every bit as important and valuable as up front. Here's Anthony Lynch taken down, and that's a free from the 45-metre line. And now the referee will have to have some words with one of the Kerry players, calling across Owen Brosnan.
Yeah, he pulled down Anthony Lynch that time, and again deservedly gets moved. But I must say about Kerry today, they mean business. The hunger that was absent all year seems to have returned, and by God, they're certainly not going to relinquish their opportunity at getting it 2 in a row that easily.
The only place where these teams are level so far is in the yellow card statistics. 2 per team. Now there's a requirement here to bring on a substitute for a blood injury. It's a temporary change which Cork are having to make. Sean Levis is going into the action as a temporary substitute, and the player he's replacing is Graham Canty. Well, they'll try and get him stitched up very quickly. I'm sure Dr. Con Murphy will do the job as speedily as possible to get the Bantry Blues man back into the action. James Masters. He caught it beautifully. That will please James Masters and give some joy to the Cork fans. Back to a 6-point difference once again, 10-4. Just watch this incident again here now. This is the incident involving Seamus Moynihan and Brendan Gerald Sullivan. Brendan Ger came in, Seamus Moynihan as well. And, well, when you look at the genesis of that particular incident, you think in terms of Brendan Ger gets booked for it and none of the Kerry players. And people find that lack of consistency hard to understand. William Kirby down towards Brian Sheehan. Sean Levis is marking him now in a temporary capacity at the moment. Dished off as far as Owen Brosnan. Got a good point so far. Going all the way through, dangerously across the goal area. It's like as if Cork have frozen for the last 25 minutes of this match after a very bright first 10 minutes.
Absolutely, but they're mercurial at the moment, the way they're just moving around from one position to the other. Cork are in an absolute tizzy. They simply cannot get the ball. There are no leaders really getting a grip of the game. Their composure has neglected them, and at this stage, I mean, there's only going to be one result of the game.
So 2 additional minutes will be played at the end of the opening 35. Again, Kerry ripping Cork open. Tomas O'Shea down towards Gooch Cooper, inevitably. Now this time the referee had blown his whistle. It's going to be a free in. Kieran O'Connor had fouled him. No advantage was given.
No, in fairness, like he went through that time, probably had a score on, but the referee had blown for the initial foul by Kieran O'Connor. But again, every ball around the middle of the field has been won by a Kerry player, and the quality of the play that's going into Gooch and going into the other full forward there, Declan O'Sullivan and Brian Sheehan, is of the topmost quality. And it's out around the middle of the park, I think, that there is the genesis of the problem is occurring.
Kieran O'Connor's yellow card, that's as a result of 2 fouls committed on Gooch, once a ticking, then a yellow card. Just indicates what difficulty he's having as Brian Sheehan shapes up to this. He's pointed one already from the ground, and he's pointed a second. And it gets even better for Kerry. They lead by 11 points to 4. Hard to see Cork coming back from this. We're into the time added on for stoppages now. Once again, Kerry look for additional scores. It's Kieran O'Connor who stops it this time. Kevin McMahon rounding Declan O'Sullivan. Conor McCarthy now. All their creative players, and Conor McCarthy is one of the most creative, been closed down so effectively, and Cork have been made to look very much second-rate. The champions in full flow. Paul Galvin, well, that's heading towards the stands, but well wide of the posts.
Well, that's an aberration. Like, it's the first bad wide I've seen from the Kerry forward line in the half. The forward play actually has just been top drawer, but their overall application is so superior than that of Cork's.
What can Billy do there with his selectors? One of them there, John Corcoran.
I wonder, is it nerves, Gerard? I wonder where Cork just a little bit over, you know.
It could well be. There was a degree of expectation that they would go even one better than the Munster final performance, where they lost by only 3 points and led at a point at the break. Here's Darragh O'Shea.
They're so leaden-footed. They're all in every position on the field at the moment.
Inside towards Gooch again, cut out this time, and cut out well by Conor McCarthy, who's gone very, very deep, but he's meant to be centre forward, not centre half back. They are shapeless at the moment, and they have a lot of work to do, Cork. Getting it forward towards Derek Kavanagh. Is there a score on before the break? Philip Clifford, who was so impressive at the beginning, knifing his way through this time. It's still Clifford, but a wide. Well, full of earnest endeavour, Philip Clifford. You can never fault him for that. He gives 100%, but there are still 7 between them. This is the Clifford effort again. Look at the number of Kerry backs. Powerless to stop it, but forced wide outside there, as you saw at the end, by Darragh O'Shea.
Well, in fairness, surging runs like that, and more of those are required from Cork. He showed a little bit of initiative and a little bit of spunk that time, and hopefully that will go through the rest of the team for the second half.
It's the end of a first half where Cork got the first 2 points, and after that, Kerry took over. And Colin Cooper, with 4 points, was the star of the show. But then there were so many stars for Kerry. They're on top in all positions. It looks very good for the champions, and they have shown us how they have developed as the season has gone on. And at Croke Park, in the first of the Bank of Ireland football semi-finals, it is Kerry who are in the very happy position of having a 7-point interval lead. The fans are happy? Well, they might be. Cork fans wondering, is there any way back? Half-time score, it's Kerry 11, Cork 4. Let's go down and get some comment now. Our reporter is Marty Morrissey. Marty.
Thank you very much, Chair. Coleman Corrigan, not a good first half for Cork.
No, certainly not. We're in trouble with the breaks around the middle of the field. That's where we see the game has been turned Kerry's way. They're picking up all the breaks, and at that stage they're breaking forward from there. But again, we were in this situation against Galway, and we came back and we were hoping for a repeat of that.
You certainly seem to have a problem with the Gooch. He's destroying you inside there with 4 first-half points.
Well, I mean, if Kerry have time on the ball and they're playing it in front of him, there isn't a whole lot that the backs can do about it. So in the second half, we're going to have to get tighter on Kerry and stop him putting the ball in front of him.
Going to have changes at half-time?
I would think so.
Coleman, thank you very much for joining us. Ger O'Keefe, very good in contrast to Coleman's tale. Very good first half for Kerry.
Yeah, it's been a good first half for us. You know, we're playing to our strengths, and that's what we've been trying to get the lads to do for the last couple of weeks since the Mayo game. You know, we have players that are able to get the scores, so we just want to put the ball into that area and, you know, keep the pressure on the Cork backs, not to allow them up the field, and it seems to be working well at the moment. But, you know, this game is not over yet. Cork are always a good team, you know, against Kerry. They'll throw everything at us now. We can expect the kitchen sink in the second half. Whether it'll be good enough or not remains to be seen, but our guys now are in the driving seat, and we'll be looking forward to keeping the momentum up in the second half, you know, and try to put this game away.
Thank you very much, Ger O'Keefe, for joining us. Back to you, Michael.
Yeah, well, I guess that is about the size of it, isn't it? Cork are certainly going to play for their pride in the second half. They're going to put it up to Kerry. There's no doubt about that. But having said it, the All-Ireland champions are very much in the driving seat. We're going to take a break here on the programme. Coming up after that, analysis on the first half from Joe and Colin. Time in the All-Ireland football semi-final between Cork and Kerry. Kerry leading Cork by 11 points to 4. Colin and Joe still here with me, obviously. Joe, if this is a cricket match, I think Cork will be asked to follow on.
Oh yeah, that's the end of that. You're interested in cricket?
I know that much about it, yes.
Very impressed. Fluent Irish speaker. We were saying just halfway through the first half that it's like watching Tyrone.
Yes.
Just like watching Tyrone. Brosnan and Kirby and the other big midfielder, Darrell Shea, they're dropping back. They're swamping the defensive zone. Cork have no room to move the ball forward. And they're breaking out with great short passing, you know, just the way Tyrone do. They hold possession, they don't kick long from their defence. Once they get to the middle area of the field, beautiful ball going into Cooper inside, who's been left one-on-one.
Yes.
So, I mean, tactically, Kerry are excellent today. They've covered all of the problems that arose in the Munster final. They're breaking down every ball around the middle of the field, and they've won those 11-5. They've got 11 kickouts to Cork's 5. And, you know, Cork have no platform from their midfield. And the Cork half-backs can't get forward because the Kerry half-forwards are pressurising them, and Anthony Lynch hasn't been on the ball, and Cork just looked totally dispirited, and the game was over 15 minutes ago.
But you see, like, this is what good teams do. I mean, we were questioning before whether, you know, Kerry had the passion and the appetite for all this again this year. This is what good teams do. They learn from what they've done the last day. Even what they've done the last day is good.
Yeah, and I think what they've learned most from the last day, they were destroyed by Mayo at midfield for long stretches in the game. And it's very clear that Kerry have gone out with a policy they're going to break everything. Yeah. You haven't seen one Kerry man going for the catch in the first half. Everything has been knocked down, and they're picking up the breaks, and there's such a ruck in the middle of the field. They're able to break with speed, and of course they're so creative up front when they get the ball there.
They are. I mean, I know he's getting the right supply, but it's a pleasure to watch the Gooch. when he gets the ball, it's just lovely. Yeah.
He may as well enjoy it now, because he's not going to get this room against Armagh or Tyrone. They'll have a man standing in front of him. But you can't believe in Colin Cooper one-on-one in that sort of situation.
Yeah.
You know, give a lovely ball and he can put it over that shoulder, that shoulder.
It's amazing.
And it's shot selection as well.
Yes, it's amazing that a man of such small stature can get up and win such spot. I think somebody should check his birth cert, because I don't think he's born. I think he's a creation of God with the way that he's able to do
it.
Well,
I tell you, he's light of stature. He's not necessarily small. He's a tall guy, and obviously he's wiry enough.
But he's wiry and he's tough and he's good in the air, and he doesn't worry about the physical contact, and he has absolutely no trouble in the courage department. And the other thing is, he does everything so quickly. And, you know, another great thing about him is that he could probably go for his own score nearly every time and get it.
Sure.
But he's got great vision as well. Yeah. You know, and he has no difficulty playing the team game. He'll lay the ball off.
22 years of age and he plays like a guy at 30.
Is that what he is, 22?
Yeah. And he goes for a shot there, like, you know, that no normal human would even attempt.
Yeah, but you know he's going to score it.
Yeah.
As soon as he got it,
somebody else did that, he was a chancer having a go. But when Gooch does it, I mean, you know that's... if he knows it's on.
He is so terrific. It's hard to believe that he is as good as he is. And I mean, he is clearly going to be the forward of this era. You know, I mean, there are great forwards. You know, Stephen McDonald, Stephen O'Neill, and we've been blessed with some terrific forwards. But this fella, he's above everything.
He features in the next little clip we have, Colin. But this is more a contrast between Cork attack and Kerry attack, because we had one classic piece of play in the first half that summed up Cork for me.
Yes, Michael. Cork are playing across the field, and there's nobody making the penetrating run. And here we see Kerry have come back in big numbers and they're leaving a huge space up front, and Brendan Gerrard Sullivan doesn't know where he's going. He's across to young McMahon, runs into about 4 tackles and over carries the ball. You know,
is that not? I mean, look, if you sort of squinted at it, that could be Tyrone there. Just exactly the way Tyrone and Armagh play.
And then you have
Kerry get the free.
The rapid breakout then, and again, like Tyrone, like a lot of other, like Armagh. You know, it can be a cornerback, it could be a wing back, all very comfortable on the ball. Up to young Sheehan, who's, you know, done quite well. He scored his points out the free. And again, you know, Cooper makes a dash.
Although by that stage, the Gary fella had just decided, look, this is a waste of time. You know, he wasn't even following him at night. He didn't even put his arms out.
Most players are upset about taking off. I'd say he was delighted to be taken off and to be replaced there, because he couldn't face another 50 minutes of chasing a shadow.
Sure. Well, that's just short of 40,000 people here at Croke Park today for this semi-final. I wonder how many of them at half-time believe that Cork will make a quick break. Event back after the second half of this All-Ireland semi-final. Now we have a change on the Cork team. Sub is in. He is in for James Masters, who has been taken off. Alan Cronin is the player who is in. And Cork gearing themselves up for this second half. And I suppose, it's a tough ask now, Colin.
Yeah, well, like, you know, it's a bit like juggling the chairs on the Titanic at this stage. You know, they came out of the dressing room and their expressions, their body language
They didn't exactly take the door off the dressing room.
No, they were like fellas going to an execution, and their own execution. And I suppose it is a bit like that. You know, Cork have scored 1 point from play in the whole first half, and that was after 2 or 3 minutes from Philip Clifford.
Yeah, good point actually. That was about it. Yeah.
That's about sums up the play. The only thing that's going to stop Kerry from annihilating them now is Kerry's attitude. Kerry got a bit sloppy there near the end of the first half, as they did against Mayo in the last quarter of an hour. And, you know, hopefully from the game point of view, Cork get an early goal.
They know obviously they have problems at midfield, so Graham Canty's been moved into midfield and Jerry Kavanagh is going back, so maybe Kavanagh wasn't as fit as we...
It'll make no difference. I mean, what we're just seeing very clearly today again is the gulf in class between Tyrone, Kerry, Armagh and the others. I mean, not bad teams. Cork, teams like Galway, Dublin, Laois, you know. I mean, Dublin, Laois and Cork are just being hammered by these other 3 teams. And the point is this, that it's no coincidence that all of those 3 teams have a very similar system of play. It's very difficult to play against. Of course, they've got plenty of good footballers as well. But teams are going to have to start waking up that unless they get their strategies right and unless they're working on those, they might as well forget about it, because Cork or Kerry, Tyrone and Armagh are just so far ahead of the others now that you're seeing mismatches. Yeah, but traditionally, I mean, Dublin were beaten by 9 points yesterday and people said Dublin played quite well and made a good account of themselves. Laois were beaten by 12 or 15 points. I mean, this could be another annihilation depending on Kerry's attitude. Huge gulf emerging there.
And Cork's attitude, I mean, they've got to step up to the thing here.
Yeah, but the surprising thing about Cork the first half is they didn't play with anything like the fire of the Munster final or the match against Cork. A bit passionless, a bit down, you know, you'd expect maybe nervous, but they're very, very much stuck to the ground. You know, they need a bit of inspiration. Like, they might as well put Canty out midfield because, you know, it's desperation stakes at this stage. They need a goal to make a match of this fairly quickly. If Kerry get a goal, you know, most of the crowd will have left fairly quickly.
Gentlemen, thank you. Let's rejoin Martin and Ger.
4 at half-time in front of an attendance of 39,594, and that's just a bit down on the 2002 figure, with 46,000 were here. Joe McQuillan looking around to see everybody in place. So it's Nicholas Murphy and Graham Canty now at midfield. It's Darragh O'Shea and William Kirby. Sunshine is out, and Derek Kavanagh now playing on Owen Brosnan. Second half gets underway, and straight away it's Nicholas Murphy who is right into the attack immediately, meaning business. Indestructible, it seems. Alan Cronin, who's just come on as a replacement for James Masters, fouled, and it's going to be a free in.
Well, they need a little bit more of that drive at them, just play with a little bit of abandon, and maybe that'll be something that'll spark them into a little bit of life.
Well, this free kick then to eat into Kerry's lead. John Hayes ready to hit this one. James Masters scored 2 points from frees, but generally speaking the game was passing him by, but he wasn't the only one. John Hayes 1 point from a free in that first half, and now he has got a second. So, positive start made by Cork. Long way to go.
Well, the main thing during this half is that they play with a little bit of fire and a little bit of conviction. Like, that was absent in the first half. It's a surprise to see a Cork team coming out looking so inhibited, but that's the way they have been today.
David Murphy. Plenty of Cork players there to try and catch as it was coming down there. It was Graham Canty who was fouled. He made the catch as well. And Cork have it in midfield, a chance to build with Anthony Lynch. Again, Canty holding up the point of the attack, about to be confronted by Paul Galvin. Dropped in towards Alan Cronin. Runs away from him, Seamus Moynihan instead for the Kingdom. Out as far as Aidan O'Mahony. Away to William Kirby. Here's Darragh O'Shea. This is Mike McCarthy. Adventurously carrying it forward. Trying to set up a scoring chance here for Brian Sheehan. Low inside towards Gooch once again. Tricky and dangerous character for opponents to try and keep tabs on. Brian Sheehan has started all of that. Hangs in the air. Taken in here with some difficulty by Mike McCarthy still. Outside towards Hassett. Has a thought himself, but this time he goes unrewarded. Good point in the first half for the man from Lown Rangers.
Yeah, just watch for Mike McCarthy wasn't that made his way all the way up right into the corner forward position. Again, great fitness, great running power and great willingness to support his attack.
5 wides for Kerry. Billy Morgan, I wonder what he has said to them at half-time. Hardly worth the riot act and so on, because a calm approach is required. But right now it is Kerry again with Paul Galvin on his left boot, right between the posts, and that's his second. Lovely swift play, effectively done. Players who are composed, have good feet, and are really up for it. And Kerry have been in very positive mood right from the off.
Yeah, and again, the problem that time came from the fact that the kick out from Kevin O'Dwyer dropped very short, ball broken in, no half-back in position to actually defend it, and Galvin punishes it.
So just when Cork thought they might get off to a flyer start of the second half, quick riposte from Kerry, and that reply means there are 7 between them again. Brendan Gerald-Sullivan out-muscled by Liam Hassett. Drops it in over the Gooch. Going across there to cover is Kieran O'Connor. Manfully sticking to his task, which is not an easy one. Owen Sexton racing forward. It's Brendan Gerald-Sullivan once again. His dad won an All-Ireland medal back in 1973 alongside Billy Morgan. This is Kevin McMahon who's up with the attack. Cork with another free kick.
Oh, that was a great shot from Paul, I nearly said Paddy there, from Tomas O'Shea. His uncle Paddy would have been very proud of it. Just watch this.
In fact, when you think about it, that number 5 shirt has had an O'Shea in it for so long.
That's right, okay, maybe caught him at the elbow, but certainly Kevin McMahon knew all about it.
Yeah, it was a frontal shoulder into the chest of Kevin McMahon. So Tomas O'Shea gets ticked for that. Cork get themselves a free kick.
Yeah, I think the O'Sheas have squatters' rights, that number 5.
I think so. Used to be P. Shays. John Hayes once again taking the responsibility. Slackly kicked and he never connected properly. And that's a bad miss. Didn't look right. His approach was all wrong.
Approach was all wrong, but they're absolutely oozing diffidence, if there is such a thing at the moment here. There's no confidence in that team whatsoever. And I think, you know, we were sold a pup really with the start that they made. It's gone downhill badly since then.
Well, they need a troubleshooter out there somewhere. I can't help thinking, Martin, does Eddie Hobbs play football? Because he's needed in a Cork jersey down there.
Well, tug out his picks very quickly.
Here comes Conor McCarthy. Taking out Alan O'Connor. Kerry have a player down injured at the moment. And he will need attention. That's Declan O'Sullivan.
Kerry are going so well for the ball. They're driving into the ball. A lot of the Cork lads right throughout the field are waiting for the ball to come to them. But this looks a worrying injury for Declan O'Sullivan, who I think in the past has had a problem with his ankle and with his knee.
Yeah, he missed a lot of last winter in the preparation for this year's league and championship because of injury. He's a great young footballing talent, as we know. plays for the Drummond Pearce's club, which is Jack O'Connor's club. Came through the Colchester Skellige secondary school program there. And the physio is out straight away just to make sure. There's an abundance of talent waiting on the bench to get an opportunity if the injury should be one that could be aggravated by remaining on too long. We've seen two teams in action here. Another team sitting in there somewhere in the Cusack stand far side is the Irish men's senior basketball team. They have a busy fortnight coming up. They play Malta on Saturday next, and then they play Slovakia. That's in the National Basketball Arena on 2 weeks' time, 10th of September, a match which is live on RTE2. So give them your support if you can.
This doesn't look well at all actually with Declan Sullivan. I noticed the chartered physiotherapist is looking at his ankle, and I say maybe they might even bring him off now as a precaution.
Well, they have Mike Frank and they have Dara O'Kinade just waiting, itching to come in. They're leaving him on for a little while anyway. They won't take any chance. They have a comfortable lead of 7 points. Cork haven't been able to make any headway in the opening 7 minutes of the second half. Still, that gap between them. Philip Clifford now taking over the responsibility of taking the frees, and that sails over beautifully. A second for Philip Clifford, first from a free, and the Bantry Blues man gives Cork a bit of hope. Still no goal chances in this match, and Cork will probably feel they need one at least.
Yeah, again, just getting back to the middle third of the field at the moment, that's where the problem was in the first half, so it'll be interesting to see will Ben Canty be able to bring about an improvement in there. As
our panel were saying at half-time, Kerry were breaking the ball an awful lot, and then they were so good at scrapping for everything. There they go again, but this time it breaks back to Alan Cronin, now to Conor McCarthy, release forward here towards John Hayes. He's made a big impact in the championship so far, but major test this afternoon for all of them. McCarthy once more, quick look around to see who's moving. It's Kevin McMahon driving forward. Lazily struck inside there. Brendan Cher going in, clashing in there. Nicholas Murphy was there too, I think. And it comes out as far as Aidan O'Mahony. And there are a couple of players down injured. One of them is Mike McCarthy, definitely, and the other is Nicholas Murphy. Play continues. Both teams down to 14 right now. Paul Galvin trying to set up Brian Sheehan. 2 points from frees so far on his first start for Kerry in the championship. That's spilled by Noel O'Leary, dangerously so. And here comes Kerry, and it's off the post, and the gooch. It's finally in, and it's there by Owen Brosnan. Well, he was the one setting it up anyway. A goal in the 9th minute of the second half.
Yeah, and it all comes back to a handling error by Noel O'Leary. Again, Brosnan picks it up, great vision. The Gooch gets the ball, rifles it to the corner. Again, it breaks very fortuitously for Brosnan, and he finishes. But again, on the run of play, the score is absolutely deserved.
And it's Brosnan's 8th championship goal. And Gooch, the one who was very much involved there, striking the butt of the post. Kevin O'Dwyer, his team with an enormous amount to do, and right now you feel they're just playing for respectability. Owen Sexton in over the head of Philip Clifford, and Kerry are there in numbers. They're energised by that goal, their spirits lifted, a real dampener for Cork. Somehow everything has gone wrong for them.
But I think we've got to salute the quality of the Kerry performance too, Gerard. It's been outstanding today. They're so mobile, they're so hungry and greedy for ball, and again their support they throw out the field, their teamwork is of the highest quality possible.
William Kirby had nobody challenging him as he was setting up this latest attack for Colm Cooper, taking on Kieran O'Connor. He does well, dispossesses him, good hands to hold on to it as far as Sexton taking it back again here with Gary Murphy coming out, and they try to work it. They have a giant task on their hands. Kevin McMahon holding it up for Conor McCarthy, who has so often been the architect of Cork's attack, not allowed that luxury this afternoon. But here comes John Hayes, good little block on that. Kerry there in some numbers, even when the ball deceives one of them, and the bounce wasn't outfoxing. Aidan O'Mahony did well to get the ball away initially. Alice far now as the recovered Declan O'Sullivan. The jersey there of Seamus Moynihan had been pulled. Darragh O'Shea, quick look up. Again, nobody marking William Kirby. Really, this is just poor play. We can commend Kerry all we wish, but that's very, very bad. It's slack marking by Cork. All drifting towards the one target. Colm Cooper, again making a better angle for himself. Right or left, he's impossible. Oh, he might have put it over the bar. I think he just ran out of energy. Lightly built lad. Wonderful talent.
Well, certainly they're using high-octane fuel today. The way he left his defender in his wake, they're very impressive. He'll be disappointed with the finish goal.
Well, there are times, I suppose, when the defender doesn't really know how to time the tackle perfectly, is worried about giving a free away because the gooch is so elusive and has a nice turn of pace. Darragh O'Shea holding it up here. Kevin McMahon closest to him. There plays midfield with his club. Here's Owen Brosnan, the goal scorer, after the ball was struck off the post by Colm Cooper. Well, it was a goal after 7 minutes of the Munster final that turned it Kerry's way. That goal by Declan O'Sullivan that day in the blazing heat of Porky Queeve. This game was turned sometime earlier, but it has certainly provided quite a platform. Mark O'Shea with a great dimension on Conor McCarthy. McCarthy does well to recover, shows gritty determination. Mike McCarthy, another member of the clan, Kerry's number 3, coming out to take. Aidan O'Mahony from Rathmore, right on the border between Cork and Kerry. They play in red shirts as well, the Rathmore club. From what I gather, there was a training session recently down in Killarney between the Kerry jerseys and the Cork jerseys, the A and the B teams, as it were. Just to remind some of the Kerry players out in the field what the Kerry jersey looks like. They know it well.
Yeah, again, the contrast once again there is, you know, this overhand passing the Cork are doing. Their attacks are so laboured, whereas Kerry are snapping into everything, and there's a purpose about what they're doing.
That's Tomas O'Shea there, foiling Owen Sexton. Scrappy. Seamus Moynihan leaving it there to William Kirby. Brings a bit of order to it. Good race for possession, in spite of the margin separating these teams. 112 to 6 points. Now Nicholas Murphy towards Alan Cronin. Seamus Moynihan has read that situation brilliantly.
Yeah, and he's playing very well today, Jar, giving great leadership and looks much livelier than he did earlier in the championship.
Darragh O'Shea is about to come on. Likewise, Cork are going to make a change. As you can see, Martin Cronin is coming on. There's Darragh O'Shea. He narrated a very good programme on TG Cahir last night. And here he is. That was the day job. This is the pastime. Best known for his great skills as a footballer. Tom O'Sullivan linking up with Kirby again. Galvin setting off once more. Kerry doing as they wish, really, at this stage of the game. That goal may not have been a defining moment, but it has certainly put a certain seal on a Kerry performance so far in this match.
Yeah, but that performance again has been wonderful, and again the variation to the play, the composure they show when they're in possession, and their willingness to work for one another has been top class.
That's Darragh O'Shea. That's over the bar. That's so wide, rather. Wide. Well, he hasn't managed to get up for too many chances so far. Now there's going to be a change for Cork, and Martin Cronin's the one coming on. We saw him there being... There he is, coming on. Final words of advice from Billy Morgan, and it's Noel O'Leary who is going to be replaced.
I wonder, Ger, have Cork regressed that much since the Munster final, or is it that Kerry have improved so much?
Well, that is the big question. Here once again comes Tomas O'Shea. Pass it. Once again, Colm Cooper. Great point by Cooper. That's a fifth. Brilliantly done. 113 to 6 points. Cooper flowing freely, the mark of a master.
Yeah, this is becoming a very humbling experience for Cork, unless they get a couple of scores and preferably goals very quickly. They could be absolutely beaten out the gate.
Just to answer your question, or maybe offer a thought on it, Martin, the day in Cork was really, really hot, you may remember. Some of the Kerry players, I think, struggled quite a bit. Since then, we saw Cork play Sligo, and we saw Cork beat Galway as well. And now there must be question marks over the standard of the opposition they were facing in both of those matches.
Oh, very much so. And again, both, saying it were both for Connacht teams, and maybe the standard this year in Connacht was poor.
Well, you've got the two semi-finals. It's a Munster final repeat and an Ulster final repeat.
Yeah, and the big three, it seems, are going all the way through the three that we have been more or less predicting all year.
That's a 45. Dara O'Kinada causing a few problems. This is one man who's caused problems everywhere and anywhere. How would you fancy marking him? You had number 2 in your jersey from Mayo at one stage.
Well, I bring in a rope with me and I put it around his 2 legs, and a chain then I put around his midriff, and I keep him beside me. It's the only way I could mark him. Anyway, I was nearly praying for a happy death by the time I went back to cornerback.
So Dara O'Kinada ready to strike this one. About 10 metres in from the sideline against a Cork opposition with just 3 scoring chances to its credit in the second half. And they have taken just 2 points. 113 to 6 points. Bitterly disappointing semi-final, unfortunately. And Cork are about to bring into their ranks Kevin O'Sullivan from Island Rovers in West Cork, and another West Cork man, Conor McCarthy, is making way. Here's Liam Hassett once again, freeing it inside for Tomas O'Shea. They're running Cork ragged, but they've been doing that for most of this match. Oh, that's a bad slack pass. Brosnan putting it back as far as Galvin. You can't make errors like that. That was a dreadful passing error out of defence. And Paul Galvin has got a 3rd point.
Well, it's bad enough actually when Kerry are playing well, but when you give them scores like that, it really drives the final nail in your coffin, so to speak.
Not sure was it Derek Kavanagh who made the hand pass, but it was not a good one. Sean Levis was in earlier on as a blood substitute, and that's a temporary substitute signed by the referee. Canty is getting his hand attended to on the sideline, I can tell you, out of shot, and Sean Levis is back on the field. Before this match, Cork were very reluctant to tell us whether or not Derek Kavanagh was playing. This is that last point again. That's the hand pass. And who does he give it to? Straight to Owen Brosnan, back to Paul Galvin. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, that really personifies the sharpness that's in the Kerry attack. They'll gobble up any mistake that Cork make, apart from playing very constructively themselves.
But just to go back to the point about Derek Kavanagh, starting him when he was obviously far below full fitness is something that I guess will have to be reviewed again.
Well, very much so, Gerard, but it would be very wrong to actually say it's down to Derek Kavanagh that the team has gone bad. There's a collective malaise in the team today.
There sure is. That's a ticking for Tom O'Sullivan. So a chance for Cork to get another score, and they failed to make it. Just not going their way. One of those days.
Yes.
But they're up against the All-Ireland champions, and
yeah, and again, they were All-Ireland champions, again, deserved All-Ireland champions this year. Again, you know, defending their title this year. Up to now, we've been questioning them, questioning their ability to see out games, wondering was the old appetite there, but we have got our answer in spades today.
No question. And you get the feeling also that Kerry would just love to take on Northern opposition once again, bearing in mind what happened in 2002 and 2003. Right now, it's Kevin McMahon. That's a great chance. He's put it over the bar. I'm sure he was probably going to go for a goal there if it presented itself. And where Cork are concerned, only 2 of their points are from play today, I think, is the statistic.
And I think the most damning statistic of the lot and the most revealing statistic of the lot, Gerard.
Yep. So Kerry by far the more creative. Stats underlining that yet again. That's Martin Cronin. His brother Alan is the number 23. Number 24 over there is Kevin O'Sullivan. Promising young player from West Cork. Oh, he's dispossessed brilliantly by Mark O'Shea. Well, he may be promising, but he's got a lot of tricks to learn.
That's textbook stuff. That's wonderful defending altogether.
Here's Galvin.
Beautiful.
People will probably say afterwards that Cork were hopeless and Kerry hadn't much of a match today, but the exhibition that Kerry have put on has been exhilarating. I mentioned earlier on there that two of Cork's scores had come from play, the rest all from frees. Look at that tally of 114 that Kerry have got. Only 2 points of that has come from frees.
Yeah, they're so silky up front again, their movement, their teamwork, their interplay. They're thinking quicker, apart from being in great physical shape, they're thinking so much quicker. And again, that experience they've had over the last number of years is standing to the most. Maybe remember, Ger, a lot of these guys have won All-Ireland under 21s as far back as 95 and 96.
Mike Frank being prepared. Jack O'Connor will be anxious to bring him in shortly.
And he's one of those that won the under 21 All-Ireland titles that far back, you know, so a lot of them have been together quite a long time.
Dara O'Kineda has had 145 already. This one drops dangerously right at the square. Kevin O'Dwyer did well, sun in his eyes, held on to it, hasn't let the side down. Nothing he could have done about the goal. Against a Kerry side that's been well prepared. The ball was rolling, I think, and they want to take the kick out again. Pat Flanagan is their PE man, and he looks after the Kerry physical fitness. He has them in very good shape. Brian Sheehan comes off. Coming in, the very popular Mike Frank Russell. Well, is it Brian Sheehan or is it Liam Hassett is going off? Cork coming forward again, looking for something. Clifford beaten for it by Mike McCarthy, never giving up. When the team has a very handsome lead of 10 points, and at the back they're still concentrating to the maximum. Every player fighting for their place.
Yeah, and this will please Jack O'Connor, because against Mayo they allowed Mayo come back at them late on. Against Cork in the Munster final, again they weren't overly impressive, only won by 3 points, but today they're the real deal.
Dara O'Shea towards Mike Frank Russell. Here he comes. Now he's going to make a case for inclusion in the All-Ireland final.
What a pass that time from Dara O'Shea. Beautiful crossfield ball, but it's all made possible because of the movement of the ball by Russell in this case.
This is a very special team, and they've got some very special players. Here's Mike Frank again. Well, Paul Galvin played himself into the side with 3 points in the second half against Mayo. I wonder what Mike Frank will do. Cooper in for Dara O'Kineda. Does it curl? Not quite. He thinks it does.
And I thought it did too. Yeah, we were in a perfect position actually to judge the angle of that. It looked to me to be over the bar actually.
115 to 7 points. It's going to be a free kick. Well, some of the Cork fans have decided it's 160 miles back home, and maybe a little bit more from here, so we've had enough. Disappointing afternoon for them. They will feel on reflection maybe that the team has made progress. It's going in the right direction. Last year was a horrible championship year for Cork. Some headway was made this year, and Kevin McMahon is one of those players they will look to for the future. He's put over his second point, injured in the process. That was Nicholas Murphy who was down. It was Kevin McMahon who got the score a little while ago.
Yeah, again a lazy, easy point that time for Kevin McMahon. Just breaks out, nonchalantly puts it over the bar.
It's 2 points then for Kevin McMahon from this match.
Yeah, just taking up a point you made a couple of minutes ago, Jerry. I do think Cork have made progress this year, but again, Kerry today have gone up a couple of gears. They're in overdrive at the moment, and it would be very difficult for any team actually to live with them today the way they're playing.
Well, the scores from play, interesting. 3 out of 7 for Cork, 14 out of 24 for Kerry. That's hardly scores from play. It must be scoring opportunities converted. That, once again, is Martin Cronin. Big-hearted player. Inside to Anthony Lynch. Ah, he was going for a goal as well. Got a point. Cork trying to close the gap as bravely as they possibly can. Nobody wants to be destroyed by your greatest rivals and nearest neighbours.
Well, the points are of the mere consolation variety, Ger. But just going back to a tackle there that Brosnan made on him. Again, super tackle, I thought. Again, unlucky maybe, to have been loaned for a free. And again, he's a player, that I think has benefited hugely from playing in the number 11 position today.
8 minutes to go in this match. Kerry looking good for the final. And I'm sure they would have preferred a tougher semi-final than this one.
Well, certainly whoever they play in the final will be going into probably their ninth game or their 10th game, Ger, by the time they get there.
Something like that.
Yeah. So Kerry certainly would be very, very fresh.
John Hayes setting it up for Nicholas Murphy. Got a goal in the league against Kerry, and he's got a chance to get one here, but it's a great block down. Brilliantly done. I think it was Mark O'Shea who got the challenge in there. Comes out to William Kirby. Mark Tomas made the block. Meanwhile, Declan O'Sullivan trying to set something up for the Kerry inside forwards. And away come Cork once more. Even then they give the ball away and gift it to Kerry to see what the champions can do with it. Declan O'Sullivan full of running. Nobody's slacking up in this one. They've learned their lesson from that Mayo match a couple of weeks ago. There's Brosnan. He's already got a goal and a point, and now he's got a goal and 2.
Again, lovely hands, again, great interplay and teamwork, and Brosnan just coming in on the end of it. But as you said, Jared, the movement hasn't slackened whatsoever. Kerry players still going across the line, helping one another out. In that case there, the Gooch to Sullivan to Brosnan, point.
Well, it may not happen, of course, but in the All-Ireland final, I imagine whichever one of the Ulster teams gets in there against Kerry, they will really hit them hard. They won't be given this kind of latitude.
Well, that's a fair comment to make indeed.
Here comes Declan O'Sullivan.
Yeah, that's the most noticeable thing today, actually. The amount of space and time that Kerry got, early in the game was remarkable, actually. And I think that's what provided the platform for the win that they have had today.
They gained in confidence as a result of all of that. They gave Cork a 2-point lead. Cork could never draw away from them. And Kerry have just taken over completely.
Yeah, but this looseness became endemic in the Cork team as the game went on, and again, no better team than Kerry than exploit situations like that.
That's Darrow Kineda drawing a white flag from the free. Also, Shea was injured, and he has gone off, replaced by Eamon Fitzmaurice as we watch. Nicholas Murphy again. That was an absolutely superb block.
Yeah, but this was a class piece of defending. Look at that, every textbook, every coaching manual.
That's Mark O'Shea.
Yeah, with Mark O'Shea showed that. That's how you tackle in Gaelic football. And look at the composure then as he brings the ball out and the skill level. Tremendous.
Kevin O'Dwyer. And that's going to be a Cork ball. So Eamon Fitzmaurice gets his opportunity. Coming on to play his 40th championship match, incidentally. Or part of, anyway. Alan Cronin trying to bustle his way through. Cork are doing it as individuals. The link play isn't there. Seamus Moynihan was dragging him back.
Yeah, that's
the referee shows him the notebook, I think, at this stage.
Well, it's academic at this stage. But again, you're right in saying that your Cork are doing things at ones, Kerry's are doing them in 3s and 4s.
Little chat there between John Hayes and Kevin O'Sullivan. Missed the last one. This one is in for Kevin McMahon, and he blazes it wide. I think Cork at this stage will be just happy to see the end of this. Watch it again here. It was from John Hayes in for Kevin McMahon. Well wide of the target. That's Nicholas Murphy.
Yeah, you've got to commend Kerry. The concentration is still there, the commitment is still there, the willingness to work for one another is still there. And again, they're just, as I say, pouring along and, you know, getting ready for an All-Ireland final quite nicely.
When you go 6 points behind as Cork did from a fairly early stage in the first half, it's impossible, or nearly impossible, to recover against the All-Ireland champions.
Yeah, but the quality, even like when we look at what's coming in off the bench, Eamon Fitzmaurice is after coming in there now a minute ago. We've also had, you know, the Russell, the likes of Canadian, guys who are, you know, tried and trusted, who've won All-Ireland medals, whereas the Cork bench is very, very callow by comparison.
Kieran Donaghy is going to get an opportunity to come in, I think. They've changed their mind. It's going to be Declan Quill. Declan Quill is the one coming in place of Colin Cooper. Listen to the cheer. Cork people as well as Kerry people saying what a fantastic performance that was.
Yeah, but class is wonderful to watch. Any day you see a classy boyo like that out playing, I'll tell you, it's good for the eyes.
Darrow Kineda. Derek Kavanagh is his shadow. Comes back to Aidan O'Mahony.
He can score too.
It's target practice. He got his first ever point in the championship in the last game against Mayo, and he's done it again. Well, Kieran Donaghy now gets his chance to come on in place of William Kirby. Well, there were 15 points between them when the sides met in the 2002 semi-final on a day when Cork finished with 13 players. This afternoon, big difference again, big gap. Well, Kerry have now used their full complement of 5 subs. Martin Cronin trying to set something up. Again, there's a great block. Good goalkeeper by Dermot Murphy. He stood up strong. He's a terrific goalkeeper. Always does the simple things well and so effectively, and makes the more difficult aspects of the game look relatively simple.
Yeah, great credit to him. He's had a very quiet afternoon, but a mark of a good and a great goalkeeper is that he can have a quiet afternoon and still be called in to make a top-class save in the last minute of the game.
Kevin O'Sullivan, the one who was foiled. Cork goes short to Kevin McMahon. Inside towards Nicholas Murphy. Oh, that's O'Sullivan off the post and it came back. Nothing is going Cork's way today. I think if they stayed here until midnight and they brought floodlights in, they still wouldn't win this game. Here comes Kerry once again with Eamon Fitzmaurice. Declan Quill. The subs come on, have a go, but this time are out of luck.
I suppose the worrying thing from a Kerry point of view, if you could use the word worrying and Kerry in the same context today, is the fact that maybe they haven't been given a sterner test, that they're going into the All-Ireland final against an Ulster team who will bite, batter and give them loads of kind of close marking.
That's a very, very good and strong point, I think. There are 2 minutes still to play, and the gap is a very significant one.
And incidentally, I used the word bite metaphorically, not literally.
12 points the margin. Anthony Lynch given a few extra yards. Well, they'd like to get a goal here on what has been a bitterly disappointing afternoon for them. A team that prepared from last September for this year's championship, gave it everything they had, like every other inter-county player everywhere, with serious pretensions to getting into the All-Ireland shake-up in August and September. But it wasn't to be this afternoon because Cork ran into a very determined, committed and hugely talented Kerry team. They weren't going to leave their crown behind.
Yeah, and all those Kerry team players are so demanding of themselves, so demanding of one another. The amount of trust and belief they have in each other is very, very noticeable. And they're still trying to, you know, probe, open up the Cork defence. Here we go.
Their use of their chances is excellent. This is their 32nd chance, if it is a chance. No, it isn't. 31 chances for Kerry. They've taken 19. Cork have created 19 chances. They've taken 9. Watch this for a clever little pass. Cheeky enough, isn't it? Kerry full of tricks and not quite back to the drawing board, but a learning exercise, something upon which Billy Morgan can develop his Cork team.
Yeah, you feel for Billy Morgan, and again, you know, appreciate what Jack O'Connor has done, but Billy Morgan in particular has given a lifelong service to Cork. Must be very, very disappointed with this one.
Kevin McMahon rounding Declan O'Sullivan. Dropped down there by John Hayes. Just about 45 seconds remaining of Cork's agony and Kerry's joy. Kerry will never tire of beating Cork in the championship. It's their second meeting in this year's battle for Sam. First the Munster final, then Kerry won by 3. Right now, Darragh O'Shea and his team lead by 12 points.
Yeah, and Darragh O'Shea is up and down the field today, very, very effective, you know, on the fringes of the play at times when needed to be, right and stuck in the middle when he's needed to be, and again Jack O'Connor has left him on for the entire game just to get his fitness levels up that little bit more.
He looks rejuvenated.
Yeah.
And here they come once again with Mike McCarthy taking on Brendan Ger O'Sullivan. Brendan Ger's playing around his own full back line. Now here's a moment in history maybe. I thought he was going to go for the goal. It's a point instead, and it's Mike McCarthy who scores, and that is his first ever point in championship football, and today he's playing for Kerry for the 39th time.
And a memorable pass actually from Michael Frank.
There you are, might have had a goal. He's content with the point, and it is a 13-point victory for Kerry, an absolute trouncing for Cork. They were very much second best. Kerry are on their way to the All-Ireland final, where they will face the winners of next week's semi-final. The battle between Tyrone and Armagh, meeting for the third time in this year's championship. Colm Cooper was superb. Everything he did had a touch of magic about it, pure class all the way. But he is a part of a team that has so many stars, so many heroes, so many brilliant players. It's a learning exercise for Cork. They will have learned some more from this. Mike Frank Russell, he was hoping to make a case for himself. Anthony Lynch played his heart out, led the team as ever with great determination, but they were somewhat overwhelmed, and Kerry have won very convincingly. Full-time score here is Kerry the victors. It's Kerry 119, Cork 9 points. Let's go down in a moment for some comment, but first of all, Martin alongside me here. You were making the point about 10 minutes back that this might well be the worst thing that could happen to Kerry in a way.
Well, I think Jack O'Connor will go back to the drawing board. He'll be certainly delighted with the quality of the performance, but again, there was a lack of contest, Ger, from an early stage. And again, in any game like coming through and all that, I know semi-finals are for winning, but the absence of a contest, I think, will worry him a little bit, because the intensity that the northern teams will bring to a final against Kerry will be something that he hasn't experienced yet in the championship this year, and it's something he'll have to prepare for.
They will bring disciplined aggression with them.
Very much so. Again, they'll get stuck in, and again, as I said to you before, Jerry, you know, Armagh and Tyrone can go toe-to-toe with you with the aggression if they wish to. They're extremely skillful teams, though. And again, there's a wonderful, wonderful final and prospect against whoever wins next week and Kerry.
Well, it's a case of history repeating itself for these Cork players. Billy Morgan wasn't in charge in 2002. This is his second time in charge, but second year in charge. But it's Kerry's day. Kerry the victors. Let's go back to Michael.
Gerard, thank you very much indeed, and Martin Carney as well in the commentary box. We're going to be hearing from the Kerry manager Jack O'Connor in just a moment. Colm O'Rourke, that was just an exhibition by Kerry.
Yes, it was a sort of a clinical annihilation, you know, just got the job done. You know, Kerry are looking forward. I said it yesterday, I said it before the programme today. They have a date with destiny, and it's to beat an Ulster team in the All-Ireland final, because this is a brilliant Kerry team, brilliant individuals, full of class. But if they don't win the All-Ireland final, they risk being remembered as much for their failures as their victories. And they have had many great victories. But because they have failed to Armagh and failed to Tyrone, they must win this one, or else it's going to taint a lot of their successes.
Well, I think they gave a statement of intent out there at Croke Park today about all of that. Let's hear from Jack O'Connor.
Thank you very much, Michael. Jack O'Connor, very, very impressive.
Well, we weren't worried about impressing people, Marty. We were just, you know, our dream was to get to an All-Ireland final and give us an opportunity to put put another one, put 2 back-to-back, so that was our dream coming into the start of this year, and thankfully we've reached the final.
You were a little bit critical of the last day. The last 10 minutes, you felt your team were a bit sloppy. There was no sloppiness today. They were concentrating for the full 70 minutes.
Well, they weren't, and you know, I think the subs realise that, you know, they have a big part to play as well, and we want to keep up the momentum of the game. And there were a few fellas tiring, so we've been in a few fresh legs. And Mike Frank had us point with his first touch, which was fantastic, and great sign of the man after being dropped. So it's great to look forward to the month of September, Martin, and to prepare for an All-Ireland final. This, you know, as I said, this was our dream at the start of the year.
Well, I know, obviously, from talking to some of the Kerry footballers, there's a tremendous competition on for places. Paul Galvin was dropped the last day, 3 points when he came on, 3 points today. You must be creating a very, very good environment down there, Jack.
Well, they're great men, and you know, they take the rough with the smooth. William Kirby didn't start this year for 2 or 3 matches, and he's out there back to his best, you know. And that's what you need. You need men fighting hard for places and take it on the chin if they get dropped, and just coming back on and take it up to another level. And thankfully we have that. And you know, I feel sorry for the subs because they train every bit as hard as the other guys, but at the end of the day we have a tough job as well. You know, some of these calls are very tight, and once everybody rows in behind the decision that's made, we'll be fine, you know.
Well, Jack, thank you very much for joining us. Well done. We'll see you on the 25th of September. Yeah, well done. Back to you, Michael.
Yeah, no doubt, and another press night in the Kingdom ahead of an All-Ireland final. We'll have more from the panel and some further interviews for you after the commercial break, so stay with us. We have booked themselves a place in this year's All-Ireland football final on September the 25th. Of course, the second semi-final spot will be battled out next weekend between Armagh and Tyrone. At half-time we were talking about, you know, the Kerry hunger to make this achievement that you're talking about. We wondered in the second half if they take their foot off the pedal, but obviously what Jack O'Connor wanted was more out of this team to take out that little element that was in their play where they drifted out of games.
Well, there's no doubt about the last 15 minutes must have been scary against Mayo for what happened. So, you know, it's some squad though where you can bring on Declan Quill and Mike Frank Russell and Dara O'Kineda and Eamon Fitzmaurice. Yes. All players that would certainly start in almost any other inter-county team with the exception of maybe Tyrone and Armagh. Yes. Experienced players. So, you know, the fighting for place is going to be savage. You know, the Kerry training session between now and the All-Ireland final are going to be very intense because the players and subs know that Jack O'Connor doesn't mind dropping anybody. You know, if you're going well in training, your pick. Sheehan was the example of that today. He's hauled off. O'Kineda is on. Russell is taken dropped from the last day. He's on. So the competition is just incredible.
But also it's like, you know, what a lot of top soccer clubs obviously have now is this kind of rotating panel. It's not just like we have 15 players for Kerry. They have a panel of players that they can rotate.
Yeah, well, they've always had the raw material, but after their experiences against Tyrone and Armagh, Jack O'Connor has come in and he has organised the team now, and he has, I think, infringed Tyrone and Armagh's copyright, but nonetheless he realises that you must, if you're going to compete with them, that's what you're going to have to do. Yes. So the strategy's in place now. He's got the raw material. They're all comfortable with what they're doing on the field. And within that system, because everyone knows what their role is, it's relatively easy. As you see, Tyrone or Armagh have no difficulty doing this either. Players come in, you wouldn't even realise that a player has gone off because they know what their job is. And you know, they really today, I mean, just they're so awesome in terms of their whole approach to the game.
You talk about replacing, Joe. You talk about replacement. To have one player who's irreplaceable, and let's say they should be going easy on him in training, that's the gooch.
Yes. You know, they didn't take him off a bit earlier.
Everybody else. And I think the big improvement for Kerry today was their midfield. And, you know, Darragh and Kerry I thought was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And we never talk about their full back line, but it was just brilliant again today.
They're very mean.
As they have been now for about 18 months, you know, they really have been superb and they're very well organised. And Michael McCarthy has just been fantastic for the last year in particular.
And they haven't conceded one goal in the championship. Not one goal.
Sure, yeah, but also, like, at half-time, Cork made a couple of changes to try to shake things up. Kerry come out, and they get a goal sort of early enough in the second half, and that was good night Irene after that.
But you know, the game was over after 15 minutes, Michael. You know, I mean, whenever Cork couldn't stay with them and make a good start.
This is the killer goal. The gooch, of course, involved in this as well, needless to say.
Well, it's all, you know, they're all nice and comfortable in possession. You know, they really, I suppose they're most like Tyrone. You know, Tyrone and Kerry look very similar. Like, you know, Armagh have a slightly more methodical, perhaps in the round, Armagh just don't have the quality of players that both Kerry and Toronto. But you know the
handling errors,
the vision, you know, and seeing
the Cork wing back to like the Kerry players, their handling is very good.
Yeah, but they see a couple of passes ahead as well, Colin. You know, they see the game opening up, and their system of play just makes it. Once you combine that with their individual excellence, very difficult to play.
It would work away from another great Gooch goal.
Well, it was a Rivellino type. I don't know whether you remember him from 1970. He used to bend them like that. That was what Gooch was trying to do.
We were talking about the sides interrupted you. We're talking about the Cork defenders and how good they played today, and certainly one of those is Mark O'Shea. He's talking to Marty right now.
Thanks very much, Michael. Mark, well done, congratulations. Very impressive performance. The panel, and indeed all of us down here, talking about the competition for places. It's quite huge in Kerry at the moment.
It is, yeah. We knew coming up today that there'd be a tough game ahead of us from Cork, especially after the Munster final now. You know, they really put it up to us on the day, and you can say only for the goal, really. You know, there was nothing between the two teams in the day. So we knew coming up today that we'd have a right tough game. We weren't thinking about any other team today, just bar Cork, you know. And they in the first half, you know, even though the score, we had a strong win with us, and I don't think the score reflected, you know, Cork's overall performance in the first half. We went in at half time, we said, you know, if we could get it going for the first 10 minutes, and we did that, you know, and thankfully we took the day with us in the end.
Cork lost the Munster final by 3 points, and many people thought they had a reasonable chance of beating it today. You seem to have stepped up a gear now.
Yeah, I don't know, really, you know, just we were just, I suppose things worked out for us on the day. We were lucky the way things worked out, but as I say, we came up with a plan, you know, just to give it everything for the first half hour and see how it was at half time. And as I say, you know, the first 10 minutes in the second half, we came out all guns blazing, and thankfully we kept at it, and you know, we're in the final now, thanks be to God.
What is the motivation? Tell us the secret. What makes the Kerry man tick? What makes him motivate for another All-Ireland?
Well, I suppose, you know, the fellas that have gone before us, you know, have in Kerry, you know, you're judged by All-Irelands, you know, and it's great just to be in an All-Ireland final again, and that's what we wanted to do this year, was just get back into the All-Ireland final. We're there now, and we'll probably look at the semi-final the next day and have a good look at that and see how our opponents are, and, you know, we're just looking forward to the next day.
Well done. You had a great game, Mark, and thank you for joining us. Back to you, Michael.
Yeah, there's no doubt he did indeed. In actual fact, we picked out one clip of it's Kerry defending, but Mark was at the centre of all of this, and it's just such cool defending.
Yeah, and it's another thing that you see Armagh, Tyrone and Kerry doing. They tackle without foul, and they don't give away frees. I mean, watch, he's waiting, hand on the ball, picks it up the other end, and then, you know, the embarrassment. Look! I mean, the dummy, the 2 feet, you know. Yes. It's just. I mean, they're just very good footballers. But the difference between Kerry now and Kerry under Paddy O'Shea is that whilst they've always had attacking flair, and people have always talked about their great attacking flair, what they've got right now is the defensive system. They've swamped the defence. They've got a very mean fullbacks, very pacey, very athletic, always in front of the Cork forwards today. Now, of course, they're getting cover because you've got 2 or 3 men dropping back in front of them as well. They've great pace in their defence. They've got a terrific attacking platform from half back. And really, the Kerry renaissance has been based on the defensive system, because they've always had the forward ability.
The other thing that they have too is superb conditioning. You know, they were able to ride every tackle, again, like Tyrone and Armagh are able to do. Every time they went into a tackle, the Corkmen tended to get shoved aside. You know, they've been training so hard now for 4 or 5 years together. You build up a reserve of strength, and I think that the team that started today, you know, we talk about competition for places. I think that up to the full forward line, I'd say you can take it as picked for the final. Yeah. And I would say then that they may make one change and bring back O'Canada for his experience in the final. But I would say that 14 of the players who started certainly could be looking forward to playing in a month's time.
Looking at it from a Cork point of view, I mean, I know they were outclassed today, but one thing that will really disappoint Billy Morgan, I suspect, is the fact that, you know, apart from getting beaten, they create a few errors themselves as well that just doesn't help.
Well, like, you know, I think we all thought that Cork were the next in line after the top 3, you know, although they had a bit to go, like, but clearly Dublin performance yesterday was much better than Cork's performance today. And Dublin showed spirit and fight.
Here's a giveaway score like from
Yeah,
Cork.
but they gave up so quickly. I mean, you could see it in their faces after about 15 minutes. They had given up. I mean, that's fair to say, isn't it, Colin?
They had, yeah, but they get the ball and give it away here. Like Dan Maskell used to call these the unforced error.
Yeah.
And there's a player who had another superb game today, Paul Galvin, who wasn't on the last day. I think he was sick. But he was back with a bang today. You know, he's added a lot to Kerry over the last year because he's very good defensively as well as always picking up 3 or 4.
He was one of the revelations, I suppose, the Kerry team last year.
Yeah, but it'll be particularly disappointing. I mean, no one minds. I mean, I was with Dublin fans last night and stayed with them far too long into the night.
So we gather, yes.
But you know, the Dublin fans were really very contented and satisfied that their team had put in a very honourable performance yesterday, and they had given it their absolute best. You know, Cork won't be able to say that tonight. Sure. You know, in fairness, they did give up and they didn't play with passion, and it will be an extremely disappointing time for Cork supporters over the next week or two.
Let's hear what their manager Billy Morgan has to say.
Thank you very much, Michael. Billy, first of all, thank you for joining us here on the Sunday Game Live. Not a good day in the office, really, was it?
No, things didn't go well for us at all after a good start. Things fell apart a bit, and it's very, very disappointing, and the lads are quite just devastated in there, as am I.
What do you think went wrong when you just look at it on immediate reflection?
Well, their dominance in the midfield in the first half, they crowded it and didn't allow our, Nicholas or Derek to feel cleanly, and they broke the ball and they won all the breaks. Now our half-back line was, I felt, kind of in no man's land. They were neither pushing up or protecting full back line, and they were able to put across that diagonal ball in front of Colin Cooper, and he thrived in it.
I know you were disappointed because I know you love Cork football. Can you recover from this? Because this team was showing great progress all through the championship.
That's what I feel recover from it. If you look at like where we were last year compared to now, and we've also won the last 2 months from the 21 championships. And they weren't too far off from the All-Ireland. That's the youngest team out there today. So once they recover and regroup, they'll come again.
They showed great character. They kept at it, and I know you were going to keep at it.
Well, that remains to be seen, Marty, as of now. I'm no longer the Cork coach. My 2-year stint is up, so I don't know about that one. But those lads, they're great young fellas. I have great belief and faith, no?
I think they've great faith in you. If Cork football is going to get back to the top, I think Billy Morgan has to stay with them.
Well, we'll see about that, but once they don't become discouraged or disheartened, and they persevere and persist, they'll get there.
Billy Morgan, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Well done.
Now, well, Billy Morgan puts his heart and his soul into Cork football, and I think you can see the emotion and the disappointment on Billy's face there. We have the last break of the day.